Hello and welcome to the weekend update. So the month of June has ended, so let's start off with the monthly chart just to see what we can learn from it. So this is the monthly chart of S&P 500. You can see that it printed a very strong looking monthly candle. So this is and it finished right at the top, right at the top. So this is quite positive. If we look at the moving averages just to see where price is, you can see that currently the price is comfortably above the monthly 20 and 50 moving averages. It found support at the monthly 50 and now it's beginning to move higher. So this is again positive. As long as it stays above the monthly 20 and 50, we should expect to see higher prices going forward. You can see right here, the prices were always above the monthly 20 and 50. So that's that's quite positive. If we look at the momentum indicators, RSI is now comfortably above the monthly 50 level, and you can see MACD, it has completed its correcting process. Now it's in the process of making a cross, so it hasn't happened yet. If it does, it's going to be quite bullish. Something like this. If it crosses and does something like this, we should expect to see higher prices going forward. So on a monthly basis, both the price action and momentum indicators look positive to me. If we now move to the weekly, you can see on a weekly basis also, the moving averages have now crossed, they're beginning to move higher. Price action is positive, it's gradually moving higher. RSI above the 50, MACD crossed above the zero line. So again, there's nothing on the price action momentum indicators on a weekly basis that is of concern at the moment. And I would say based on the weekly and the monthly, the bias is to the upside. So on a weekly basis, what are some of the levels we should be looking out for? So I am looking at this level on a weekly basis. This is around 45.75 to 4600. That's because S&P 500 spent a lot of time in this zone, 4200 on the upside and 3800 on the downside. It's a 400-point move. So having broken through this level, a full measured move of this distance basically provides a target to this level, 4575 to 4600. And that basically takes us to this March high right here. And if S&P 500 were to take out this level, I don't think there's anything stopping it from reaching the all-time high. But that's down the road. But over time, I would expect S&P 500 to reach to this level. Now, having said that, let's have a look at the daily and maybe an hourly just to see what we can learn from it. So this is the daily chart. You can see that it's also on an uptrend, series of higher lows. And this is another higher low. S&P 500 made a very small higher high. So this high was 44.48. On Friday, it rose as high as 44.58. So it made a higher high. So this is now a confirmed higher low. So the chart pattern remains quite constructive and bullish. On a daily basis too, you can see that the recent pullback brought it to the daily 20 EMA. And then it bounced off this level. So this is looking quite strong. So these two moving averages are going to provide dynamic support. You can see that the 50 EMA provided support right here, 20 EMA coming through right at this level. Even on a daily basis, the momentum indicators remain positive. So then the question is, what can we expect going forward? It's entirely possible for S&P 500 having made an equal high to make a shallow pullback and then do something like this. So if it's to make a shallow pullback, what are some of the levels we should be looking out for? So if I look at the hourly chart, on an hourly chart, you'll notice that, so I'm just going to draw a line so you can see basically what I'm looking at on an hourly basis. So this level right here. So it can easily pull back to something like 4400. You can see 4400 was a resistance right here, and there's also a gap here. So if it were to pull back to 4400, it closes this gap. And then below that, there is support right here, which is around 43.60, and finally the recent low, which is around 43.20. 43. You know, if it closes below this level, then the pattern starts to look weak, because on a daily basis you can see that this was the low. So if it if it pulls back and closes underneath this level, then this becomes like a double top. So this is definitely is a must hold level on any pullback. So that's basically how I see S&P 500, the levels to watch. Now let's look at the sectors just to see what can we learn from the sectors. So to do that, let's have a look at this chart. Here we see the performance of S&P 500 as well as the 11 sectors that make up S&P 500. Now throughout this year, the growth sectors, technology, communication, and discretionary, they have been providing leadership. They've been pulling S&P 500 up. But the defensive sectors, these guys right here, they were underperforming S&P 500 up until May. You can see that they were moving lower up until May. And then in the month of June, we've started to see some improvement in some of these sectors. You can see that XLI has been moving higher. It has established a higher high. XLB, this is building materials, that also established a higher high. You can see real estate moving up. Even financials and healthcare have started to move higher. So the month of June has been good for some of the defensive sectors. So if there is further improvement in these sectors, then I can easily see S&P 500 moving higher. It's not just these three sectors which have done most of the heavy lifting, but if it also gets support from other sectors, especially from healthcare and financial, these two together is roughly about 35% of S&P 500. So if these two sectors start to move higher together with XLI and XLB, these two are roughly 11% of S&P 500. And obviously these three sectors are already quite strong. So if we get help from these sectors, I think S&P 500 have more to the upside in coming weeks and coming months. So that's basically how I am looking at S&P 500 by looking at the sectors. So let's look at the chart of the sectors and then see what can we learn from it. So XLK, this is the heaviest weighted sector, very strong looking chart. It's actually reached came close to all-time high. You can see that this was the high was 176, which is basically close to this all-time high right here. So this is a strong looking chart, XLK. Then let's look at XLV on a daily basis. So this is healthcare. You can see that healthcare had a big correction up until May, and then in the month of June we're beginning to see some improvement. Since reaching this low, you can see it's beginning to put in higher low. So if it's able to take out this level, then I think it can gradually move up and retest this level. So any further move to the upside in XLV is going to put upward pressure in S&P 500. XLF next. So XLF is also looking constructive to me after this big decline in March on the regional bank crisis. It's beginning to put in series of higher lows, and this is now beginning to look constructive. If it's able to take out this level, I think this will start to look quite positive. Any further move to the upside obviously is going to put upward pressure on S&P 500. You can see that RSI is above the 50 level. MACD is moving higher. So I like what I see both in healthcare and financials. I think it's important that healthcare and financials, they start to move higher. And that basically means that it's going to get additional support from S&P 500. If you look at industrials are at an all-time high. If you look at industrials, you can see that it's now at an all-time high. it's now looking quite constructive, quite positive. Momentum indicators are quite strong, and that's why you've been noticing that Dow has been gradually moving higher. If you look at XLB, a new swing high right here, this is looking strong. Momentum indicators are moving higher. If you look at XLY, which is discretionary, you've got Tesla, Amazon, Home Depot. Some of these stocks are beginning to look perform well. You can see that it's been moving higher. Obviously, XLC communication has been strong all year. And then what else? So when I look at the sectors, I see that more and more sectors are now beginning to look strong. So that tells me that I think S&P 500 can move higher in coming weeks and months. So that's S&P 500. Let's look at NASDAQ. So we'll start off with the monthly just to see what we can. So let's hide all. So on a monthly basis, it printed another strong monthly bullish candle. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we've got 4 green candles in a row. If you look at the moving averages, it is now well above the moving averages, the monthly 20 and monthly 50. If you look at the momentum indicators, RSI having spent some time below the 50 level, it is now comfortably above the RSI 50 level and moving higher, looking bullish. And look at MACD. MACD is crossed and near the zero line, and it's now beginning to move higher. So if MACD does something like this, you can expect higher prices going forward. So monthly price action, momentum indicators all look positive to me. Looking at the weekly chart, on a weekly basis, you can see that weekly 20 and 50 EMAs have crossed, moving higher. Price action looks strong to me. RSI moving higher. You might say it's a little bit overbought. And then MACD is moving higher. So I don't see anything weak about the price action as well as the momentum indicators, even on a weekly basis. So let's look at some of the levels from a weekly perspective. So from a weekly perspective, this is an important level, 15,265 right here. If I show you the monthly chart, you will see why this level is important. You see this red candle, the high of this red candle rejection was at that level. This green candle's rejection was at that level. This red candle's rejection was at this level. So there were 3 monthly candles which got rejected at this level. So if NASDAQ was able to take out this level, what is going to stop NASDAQ going to this level at an all-time high? So I think, so coming back to the weekly chart, so that's why to me this is an important level. From a weekly basis, you can see that once it's able to take out this level, I think this would be the next logical level. Now, I'm not saying that it takes out this level, next week. It's entirely possible that it could consolidate here, maybe shallow pullback and does something like this. It's entirely possible. But I think eventually this level is going to get taken out. And I think NASDAQ is going to reach an all-time high at some point this year, based on how I see the weekly and monthly. Even if there's any pullback, I would expect the pullback to be temporary. So if we look at the on a daily basis, let's have a look at the daily chart of NASDAQ and see what are some of the levels we should be paying attention to. So just like S&P 500, NASDAQ also had a pullback and now it's rallying. So where did the pullback find support? At the daily 20, the green line. You can see the daily 20 provided support previously, so it came to this level. Now NASDAQ hasn't made an equal high here, unlike S&P 500. So the previous high obviously was 15,284. So NASDAQ hasn't reached, but it's not that far off. So let's have a look at in a smaller time frame, just to see what are some of the levels we should be paying attention to. So on a smaller time frame, you can see that after pulling back to this level, it's been gradually moving higher. So I'm watching this zone. This level, which is around just above 15,000, acted as a resistance. You can see that this is on an hourly basis. So any pullback should find initial support at this level, which is 15,050, and then there's a gap right here. The lower end of the gap is around 14,950. Ultimately, this is the level, which is 14,675. If it closes under this, underneath this level, that would be negative. Let's say if it does that, that would be negative, because on a daily basis, basically, it will establish not only just a higher low, but also a lower low. I'm not suggesting that that's going to happen, but I'm looking at on a smaller time frame. I'm looking at the levels just to see where Nasdaq has support. So as I said, 1550 would be the first level, and then this gap close, which is around 14,950, and ultimately this level right here, 14,675 thereabouts. So those would be the levels. But overall, as I said, the pattern looks positive to me on a daily basis, weekly basis, and monthly basis. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching the video. I'm going to be making another video on stocks like Tesla, Microsoft, Apple, so keep an eye on this one. Also, you can follow me on Twitter. This is the Twitter page. I provide update through market hours, so you can also follow me there. Otherwise, I hope to see you again on a future video. Please consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Thank you very much.